So, hello, ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas, everybody, and welcome to tonight's show. As always, joined to me, not joined to me, but joined with me, Mr. Chris Cute.
Hi, I'm Richard's Siamese twin, and it's great to be here with you.
I honestly can't think of any. If you can think of anything worse than being Chris Cute's Siamese twin,
how can we be any more hip than be Siamese twins?
I literally can't think of anything worse. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. What a segue, Chris.
Whoa.
Speak.
I thought I set that up wonderfully for you. There you go.
Steve Reich. It is. How you doing, Jamie?
Oh, yeah, I'm great.
That actually wasn't planned, but boys and girls, it honestly wasn't. Yes, as always, tonight's show is brought to you in part by Yorkshire Grit, the Woodtones Abrasive Paste, our good friend Chad at Mancrafting, Pam from Highland Boxes, and Steve, who's already been mentioned, Neelan from Harneal Media, who doesn't take any of the credit for doing our website, even though it's basically him that does it. Jamie.
He should.
But all the information about, honestly, all the info about the sponsors is on the website. Assuming it's still running, Jamie. And that is
amazing.
Because you're not getting the credit, but you're going to get all the blame. Trust me, boy.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. If you want to find out more about sponsors or anything else that we're doing, or maybe even us, I don't know why you would, but the info's there. makersinternationalpodcast.com/sponsors. I say all the info's there. Chris, what are we talking about tonight? Save us.
Oh, we are finally. We're recording this on. Let me look. The 27th of December, but we are gearing up to say goodbye to the year which will henceforth be known as the year that shall not be named.
Without doubt.
The archaeologists in 1,000 years going through the annals of human history. 2018, 2019.
Hiccup.
There's a page missing.
It's like that dude on Harry Potter. We don't even talk about it. No, just forget about it. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we're looking to say goodbye to this year and to, to explain the reasonings that we are, so happy to say goodbye to this year, and if we can find any, the positives. I'll leave that for the questions. But anyway, that's what the show's about today. It's about, we always do a looking back on the year that we've spent. And it could be, sometimes we turn it on ourselves when we talk about the guests we've had. And I don't want to do that today. Let's do this. Just the trials and tribulations of the year that is coming to a close and next week we'll look forward to what we're going to be doing next year. So next week we will look forward to next year.
But it's important to realise that, as always, tonight's show will not be the downbeat.
No.
Depressing.
No.
360.
Because let's be honest,
days.
Because the positive of this year is, if it's providing nothing less, if it's provided you with nothing less, it should have provided you with a bit of humor. If you haven't found that humor yet, then I don't know. Stick around. Maybe we can turn you onto it. Because, be honest. People are funny.
Yeah, do you know? I don't know about you two, but I know it's kind of a hard one, because I know I physically, literally know people who have been ill, who have really suffered mentally, financially, medically, and physically, in various degrees and all the rest of it. But I've been really lucky so far. Yeah, there's 4 days left, but I've been pretty. This year for me, actually, it's actually been quite good.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I'm definitely with you there.
Even with
2 out of 3 is not bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, like I say, the last thing I want to do is kind of brush over the fact that people have, things have gone wrong for them, and we'll put it mildly. And let's not go into details because I don't want to be depressing. I want to try and keep it upbeat. I've actually had a really good year. I mean, back in the Easter time, it was a bit stressful, I have to admit, and it was the unknown, and I was exceptionally lucky. But looking back on it, I wouldn't want to go through it again. Don't get me wrong, but it's.
So you're counting your blessings instead of sheep.
Well,
when you go to sleep.
I am counting my blessings, yeah, and there are a lot of them. I mean, I want to, as a lot of you already know already, I did all those extra shifts at the hospital because I volunteered for those, or I volunteered. I wasn't doing it for nothing. I was getting paid, but I went to do that because I didn't know if I could work, and it was in a hospital, and
it needed to be done.
All the hospitals were still open. So where I wasn't allowed to work on my normal stuff, I could work in the hospital, and that meant things were kind of carrying on. And that was hard work because it was long hours and it was pretty stressful at times. But that took the financial pressure off the year. So I was working more than I would have done normally. But you
found a way. You're happy you found a way.
Yeah, and I think I put a video out about the Easter time saying, people that are self-employed are better off than people that are working, for the man, doing 9 to 5 or whatever, because I don't think anybody, I mean, a lot of people still don't know what's going on, but at that time, nobody had a clue what was going on. But if you work for somebody, kind of halfway down a hierarchy, you've got to wait for the people at the top to figure out what's going on and then plan something and then for that to. But if you're working for yourself, you're there. Like, we're doing that. I'm doing that. If you don't like it, you've only got yourself to blame, and you go and do it. So you got much more of a. It's much easier to turn a speedboat than it is to turn a cruiser. You know what I mean? You don't
wake. Well, basically, you're saying you don't wake up in the morning with as many questions.
But you can action things much faster. That's the other thing. You can dodge and weave and bob and what you need to do. And I think that for me was one of the key things when I realised that I can turn and pivot and spin and go wherever it needs to happen pretty quick.
Well, I mean,
a lot more agile in the.
And I guess you didn't wake up every morning wondering if this is my last day at work.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, Jamie. 10 years ago, when I worked in a pharmaceutical company, I woke up every morning hoping it was my last day of work. So that's not always a bad thing.
It's one of the things that we mentioned that it's fun to say goodbye to, which is bad jobs.
Absolutely.
Which is we have only one question from Andy Pugh this week. Thankfully, Karam Hussein has filled in where Andy Pugh left off. But Andy asks, and he asked this in a question mark with the end. There must be something positive about 2020. And my answer to that is yes, Andy. Testing positive in 2020 will be remembered for many generations henceforth to come. Because unlike Jamie and unlike Richard, I saw that question and I actually sat down and thought about it. Now, actually, I don't have much to say. That's going to be gung ho. It wasn't so bad, because there's always that saying that says, look, there's always a bright side, and I'm still looking for it. But Jamie, you had one, so go ahead and go with yours.
So, I mean, obviously, just like Richard, I know people that have been affected by COVID in one way or another, whether it's health or whatever. But me personally, like when it comes to COVID, I personally haven't been affected by it. But like I said a minute ago, I know close friends that have been affected by it. I don't think any family have, as far as I know, like close family or immediate family anyway. But when I say look at the positive sides of things, like even though there was a pandemic going on and all that kind of stuff, socially distance, I still managed to get this workshop done.
Oh, there you go.
So, and obviously we still managed to see, even though Maker Central was cancelled, we were still able to have a very minute little Maker meetup, socially distance. So we still kind of never stopped doing what we did. We just was very, very, very careful about how we did it. And like I said, this workshop still managed to get done, and I've got a good place to be in now.
Good for you. Good for you. You know, and I don't begrudge anybody for having some positives to have for this year. It's just, guys, honestly, I'm looking back on my year and I'm looking back and going, I don't.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, no, I really don't see any.
But
I mean, for me anyway. I mean, I hope other people do. And I honestly, I don't mean to be the Debbie Downer here, but I guess that's what I am. It's like there's nothing about this year I'm going to miss. Let me put it that way. And to say that I'm opening the next year with open arms would be an understatement. And I don't even know what that's going to bring me. But it can't get any worse than this. At least I hope not.
So Mark the Gentleman Woodturner put a positive point. The increase in remote interactive demonstrators from all over the world, making this community stronger and closer.
I'll agree with that.
Obviously, Mark, me and Carl started the Virtual Craft Festival, which was coming up again on the 30th of January. That's going to be the fourth one in a row. So that's I guess we could look at that as another positive. We always have 16 people throughout the day. So yeah, and obviously other people do it as well. But
quick question:
yeah.
Have you got all those slots filled already, Jamie, or no?
Yes, yeah, we have. I'm just waiting for a couple of promotional pictures to be emailed to me. Then I can start getting everything listed and all that sort of stuff.
All right,
and we've officially got the glass blower this time as well.
Awesome. All right. Well, I have an idea, and I want dibs in February. Then.
All right. Okay.
You know what the idea is.
Yeah, I know what it is. I know what it is. Yeah.
So February, I want that done. Anyway, okay. I'll give me time.
Did you find a fourth person for the striptease? I'm sorry.
No. We're still looking for tassels at the moment, so just but by February we should have them.
Don't forget, you can leave your hat on. All right.
All right. Let's get out.
Nobody wants to see that, guys. Sorry.
Actually, Richard. I mean, I think most. Anyway, never mind. No, I told you I was going to keep. No, I told you I was going to keep this above board as much as possible today. Karam has a question. He says, and I'll go through mine, and I have 1, 2, 3. I have 5 answers to this question. And Karam, thank you so much for the questions, Karam. We appreciate it because Andy was obviously tired and his wife's not feeling well, so he was rather not as expressive as normal, but Karam came through. He says, what has this year taught you that you intend to take forward? Here are my answers, and I don't know are you guys familiar with what Costco is in Europe?
Yeah, it's a shopping store, isn't it?
It's a big warehouse store where you can buy things in bulk. Okay,
I'm pretty sure we have Costco over here actually.
Okay, yeah, I've seen it in a couple of places. Yeah.
All right. Well, getting a Costco membership is worth it so that you can stock up on toilet paper. That's my first one. Investments in hand sanitizer companies is something I bring forward to the next year because I'm telling you, I missed the boat on that one. Future guests in my home will now sleep on the couch or in sleeping bags because I'm sorry, we're keeping the home office. I need more cookbooks. I'm taking that forward. And, look, let's be honest. When someone coughs in 2021, there's no need for the movie theater to turn on the lights so that everybody can see who it was. Okay, let's just be honest because we're hoping for much better circumstances in 2021 than we had this year. And by the way, that actually happened once, so don't laugh. I didn't make that up.
That actually happened, did it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, somebody went, and then they turned on the lights and said, "Who was it?" and cleared out the theater. It wasn't. Yeah, that's crazy. Wow. Yeah. Anyway, so, yeah, but I think the Costco membership is a keeper, and if you want to come visit me, then you know what you're coming to visit me, with. It's the couch or bring a sleeping bag. So. Because the wife wants to keep the home office. We're no longer going to have beds in there for people who come to visit.
You actually, we're not letting it. No, you can't. The gates getting chained and padlocked. We've got like pikes pointing out at the door, barbed wire across the top of the wall. Yeah.
All right. So, what has the year taught you that you intend to take forward, gentlemen? I mean, if you have something, and the chat, if you guys have something that you intend to impart your wisdom upon, then please feel free to express it.
So, I mean, for me, I don't really want to go into a huge amount of detail for this because I kind of was going to keep that for next week's kind of it's
Okay.
2021 because it sort of falls into New Year's resolutions. One thing that I can say without sort of kind of letting the cat out of the bag or anything, not
let me
that
ask
I'm super excited. Right?
I can rephrase the question if you'd like, and just say, "What have you learned?"
Be flexible. Gotta be flexible. You know, that's I sort of live my life to a not a strict, but a fairly fairly flexible planning ethos. So where I am in Northampton, I have a lot of suppliers which I still use back in Cambridge. I've still got, for the time being, a workshop back in Cambridge, and I've also got the make space that I go to. So I make that journey fairly frequently, like once a fortnight at least. So I've always like, right, okay, well, I'm doing this job for this client and I need this, and this. Well, I can get this in Northampton, I can get that in Cambridge. But so if I'm going back to Cambridge, and it's sort of, it's going to sound really complicated, but actually it's a very simple theory. If I need something from Cambridge, I get it when I'm going. So I tend to, it's a bit like the old shopping run. You run out, you get your milk locally, but you get your baked beans in your weekly shop kind of a ethos. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I plan things fairly right. I'll do that then, and then I'll need to do that because I'm going to Cambridge and I want that. So when I go to Cambridge, I'm going there, and there to get that, and that for that job over that time. So I'm always kind of planning little bits of time relevant to bigger bits of time further down the road. Yeah. So
Yeah.
although that's fairly loose, I plan over quite a big period of time. So what I've actually done, what I've learned this year is to kind of give myself more time. Give a whole, not just an afternoon or a morning to a run to do something. Like that whole day is taken up with that, and then if there's any time left over, then it goes like the stuff from the next day goes.
In essence, you've learned how to be a little more loosey goosey.
Absolutely, because it's just become so important. It's not really much. It's just become really important. That's one thing I've learned, and also to be able to streamline stuff as well. They always say that the mother of the mother of invention's necessity or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because of things like, right, sorry guys, you're all going to have to stay at home and lock the doors. But I need to go to it's like, I can't do that, so I've got to do something else. So it's also about being able to kind of, right,
start digging a tunnel, or you find a different way.
Yeah, exactly. I've got to do it another way because I can't use this. So that's opened up again.
Kind of like priming windows.
Kind of like priming windows. Yeah, that's a reference to my story or my short or something.
Yeah.
So that actually is a classic. Okay, so I guess I'm going to have to explain this to people. Anyone that follows me on Instagram, most of this year I've been restoring a whole load of sash windows, and one of the products I use to reglaze as like an alternative to the old traditional oil-based linseed oil putty is
Polymer.
I don't actually know. It's like a synthetic
polymer
goop basically, but it's acrylic based and it stays flexible and it goes off in a couple of hours, which means you can overpaint it with a water-based paint within about 2 hours. I get that from a supplier in Cambridge, and there's also a supplier locally to me in Northampton, but they'd run out, so I organised to go and get some from Cambridge. and then I couldn't go, so I completely ran out. So it was either a case of delay the whole job, which I didn't want to do, or use this linseed oil. So I went and got linseed oil, but then that stuff takes ages to go off. Yeah, and it would go. So I got.
Well, if you want to paint with water-based paint, then yeah, it sure does.
Yeah, and the water-based paint was actually spec'd by the customer. They went and purchased the paint, so I didn't really have a choice.
Oh, goody, thank you.
So, well, I don't mind, because they say normally it never matters, and it wouldn't have mattered, but it's just one of those things. So I left it. I had to leave these windows. It was only 9 panes out of, like, I think it was about 1100,500,072 or something like that. There were just loads of panes of glass, and there was like 9 that had been paid. So I had to leave them a month, but that meant delaying the project. But actually, I kind of overestimated, because if I actually hadn't have done it and not done it for about 2 weeks, I could have gone. There was a window of opportunity to get to Cambridge, get the stuff I needed to then come back, and I could have done and had it done like 2 weeks quicker than it ended up being doing. So I kind of overshot the timelines. But again, it's all about being flexible.
I want to send this to Jamie, but Jamie, before you go, I just thought of something that I will take away as a positive to 2020.
Oh yeah.
And no, and I'm not being the jokester here. I'm dead serious about this. The amount of people that I saw helping other people out this year was very heartwarming. And I think that's a positive. That's a positive, because people that were in need got help from people that were able to give it to them. And I, in many cases, not in all, but in many cases, I saw that transpire both online and offline as well. So I just thought that was kind of a cool thing to pass along. All right, Jamie, what about you?
Yeah. Right, you're going to have to ask the question again, because I've forgotten it.
Okay.
My fault, my bad.
What has this year taught you that you intend to take forward? And what kind of positive things do you take from it?
I'll be honest, I'm going to go back to watching people's lives. And I'm going to give a prime example, Wayne the Woodturner.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the stuff that man does on his lives is an incredible. I don't know, if you want to call him an artist, you can call him an artist. If you just want to call him a random woodturner, but just Wayne. Even then, you got Martin Saber-Smith as well, with his colouring and things like that. You watch them, you certainly take on what they say, and then you got like Stuart Farini is another one that does colouring. You definitely take on board, and doing a little bit more colouring in what I wanted in the wood turnings and things like that. That's definitely something I want to take forward and try and do a little bit more of. So yeah, definitely I'm definitely going to take forward like what Wayne does in his lives, and what Stuart and Martin and whoever else does in their lives, to be honest.
And people can relate to that depending on who they watch and what kind of whatever they're into. I'm sure there are people like that for them. Sure.
I guess you could say doing the virtual craft festival is like I'm kind of benefiting from it a lot. It's kind of a selfish reason for putting it on. Because I'm taking on board a lot of what is being done and something I can take forward. But obviously, I'm putting it on for everybody else as well, But
I mean, I don't think selfish is the right word there, Jamie. I think smart is, because that's. I mean, I know you're not a business in the kind of traditional business sense, but do you think somebody who owns a business employs a staff of 24 people and provides them a platform and does all the legwork and background stuff? Do you think they're selfish? Well, no, of course you don't, because the people that are doing it are getting the reward for doing it. You're just getting a larger, broader, kind of thinner benefit than. And you're still doing your hour as well, so I don't think selfish is the right word. I think smart, actually, if anything.
As an outsider looking in on Jamie, because I've seen you in a positive sense for 2020 for you. because I see positives for other people. So I just find, I guess I'm maybe a terminal pessimist for myself, but I find positives for other people. I've seen your channel grow, and you do things this year that you have never done before. And I think that is admirable. And especially in this time when people actually needed the content and the friendly face, so I would give you, I'd give you some love for that. I mean, and a lot of people are like that out there. Like you mentioned, there's a ton of people out in our chat who have also, at least in my eyes, benefited from that same thing because
yeah, without doubt. So
I think for anyone online, it doesn't matter whether you're, doing a live stream turn in or doing a live stream 9 a.m. exercise in your living room. It's been a almost boom time for live streaming this year, because
until it comes to this podcast, and then people.
there's so much to watch on the other channels. I mean, it's difficult to,
and it is an hour long,
so it's difficult to find the incentive to watch us at the best of times.
We're finding our excuses for ourselves, but anyway.
But no, I mean, genuinely, I think it has been kind of boom time. I mean, I've noticed on my channel, if I compare, if you go into, actually, it'd be interesting for anyone who's got a YouTube channel to do this at whatever size you're at, go into your analytics for your whole channel, click on the last year or 2020, and then do compare, and then compare it over side by side for the same period previously, so you get the last year and the year before day on day, to compare your various numbers, and mine's up.
Mine's way up. So I just know over the last year I've gained over 3,000 subscribers.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's
I think I've basically gained half of my subscribership over this past year, and I've been on YouTube for since 2005.
That's awesome. That's great. I mean,
how long have you been putting videos out on your channel, Jamie?
Properly for since 2019. Like consistently for every week since 2019.
So that's 104 videos.
So he went
since March 2019.
Yeah,
he went for a year plus, putting a video out every week.
Before that, it was probably once every month to 2 weeks. Well, between 2 weeks and a month, I was doing. Didn't really care. I was too busy promoting everybody else.
I have to defend myself here. A little bit because, guys, if my health would have let me, which was one of the big drawbacks to 2020 as far as I'm concerned.
Reach is gone.
Yeah, no, that's okay. He didn't need to hear this anyway. I would have been out there and putting out videos every week throughout this year, and so perhaps I may have benefited as well, but it just it didn't work out for me as far as health wise. But that's how 2020 started out for me. So I kind of started out with a negative attitude. So looking forward to 2021 is just an upscale. Is just there's nothing better that could happen to me than a new year.
We all know Chris can be a right negative, miserable goat when he wants.
Oh yeah, I'm the worst. Just don't invite me to your party if you want to have a good time.
Yeah. you know that film where you got the old boy on his porch in a rocking chair with a side by side on his lap? That's Chris. That's literally production company driving down the road.
Get off my lawn! Get off my lawn! Get off my lawn!
I can turn you a spittoon if you want.
Nah, that's all right. No, I am absolutely a very positive person. It's just when it comes to my own personal life this year, it has not
positively hates everyone.
No, I positively did not enjoy this past year. 2019, I love 2019. I loved it every year prior to this. I loved Makers. You know what? All right, bye.
Finally, Richard got his audio sorted.
For crying out loud. All right, things that I won't miss about this year. And Jamie, you can shout off all you want. What I won't miss, obviously I already mentioned this, the toilet paper shortages. I won't miss the headline news about the murder hornets. I won't miss hurricanes. I won't miss tainted meat production facilities. I won't miss the unemployment other people are suffering. I won't miss soap being nowhere to be found on the freaking store shelves. Um, uh, Shows and group get-togethers canceled. I think that may be on the top of my list. I think
Yeah.
that wood shows and maker get-togethers have to be in the top of my list about things that I
Yeah.
really missed about not being able to participate in this year. And I think a lot of us are the same way, because I had
Yeah.
plans, as I did the previous year, to go to Maker Central, and had the money saved and was this close to having the tickets bought when everything went, never mind. And
Yeah.
that was sad. That was a sad time, because I've really, really enjoyed getting together with you guys. And Tony Relou's slip and slide party, I was absolutely positively going to go to it this year. And
Yeah.
that happened. So, yeah, next year to say I'm looking forward to things would be an understatement. And I don't even know that Maker Central is going to happen next year, depending on where they put it on. But I'm just looking for something. I don't care. A group of 3 people standing around a campfire going, well, what do you want to do? Would be happy. That'd be a good time for me. That would be, I don't know. What do you want to do? Well, let's sit here and drink beer. Okay, well, let's do that.
I've got to 100% agree with you on that one, Chris. I mean, Kat and I were really lucky because we booked our accommodation for Maker Central, and then because originally it was going to be in May, wasn't it? And then it was moved to August.
Right.
And I managed to get in and move the accommodation booking from May to August. And then when Maker Central was then cancelled, I didn't want to mess the accommodation people around either, and it was like, they're suffering just as much as everyone else, and actually we could still go, but just not go to Maker Central. So bizarrely enough, Kat and I had like a long weekend away with Chloe on the outskirts of Birmingham, and it was honest to God, like, why vacation in Birmingham? Like, you're mental. But I kid you, honestly, actually, hand on heart, it was one of the best breaks ever. It was just insanely awesome. It was brilliant because there was less people. It was easier to get there because there weren't many people around. It was just a slower pace, chilled out couple of days, and it's not like 2020 has been particularly rushed or fast paced. Anyway,
what?
To then take it down a notch even more, it was just like, wow.
I can relate to that, because the best vacations is when, and they can even be just a day vacation. But a best vacations are when you have nothing planned, nothing to do, no stress, no worries, and you're just able to sit back and go, yeah. Because I'll be honest with you, there were times, and I'm not lying about this. I used to work 6 days a week when I was working in restaurants as a chef. There were times and when I would go in on my day off to work, but I would do so as a customer, and I would order a pitcher of beer, sit in the table, and watch everybody else work. And it would just it brought me a certain amount of, I know that's evil, but it would bring me so much joy to know that I don't have to deal with that struggle today. Yeah. And I would spend maybe an hour there, but boy, I would feel good about that when I left. I was like, oh, you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you later. There's a certain amount of stress that just leaves you when you no longer have any responsibility. I don't know. Yeah, so I agree with you, Richard. It's kind of like this past Christmas that we all just went through, and I don't know how people spent theirs, and I don't want to presume, but I spent mine alone. And Richard, I know you spent yours at home, and Jamie, I don't know, did you go anywhere?
No, I couldn't.
So there was no family, there was no major things that people were all stressing out, and so it was a very, very nice holiday to have. I mean, I enjoyed this Christmas. I mean, granted, I would like to have my wife and my son with me, but they weren't. But I made the best of it. I mean, it was just, I didn't have to do anything. I could have woken up, in my underwear and spent the day that way if I wanted to. I mean, it was like,
Nobody wants to.
no,
mental image. Thanks,
okay,
Chris.
bad mental
That's right.
picture. I
Put the
apologize.
easel away. Easel away. Step away from the easel.
Bad mental
Put the,
picture. I
put the
apologize.
pencil down.
But you know what I mean. It was a very nice, relaxing day I had. So
Yeah.
anyway.
So I mean, we presumably it was just Jamie and Vicky and
Yeah,
your
my
folks.
parents. Yeah,
Just nicely chilled out.
yeah.
I mean,
On a Facebook call to my sister and their she's a family
yeah. I mean, that's the other good thing is imagine if this had happened in the
in the
early
90s.
'90s, late '80s.
Yeah,
You know, that BT would have just, or the telephone exchange would have just disintegrated. Because I mean,
Yeah.
I can remember on mobile phones. Do you remember when you couldn't ring your mates? It just the network just crashed because everyone rang their mates at midnight to wish them Happy New Year.
or if it was dial up.
It would, or if it was dial up, yeah, it was never going to happen. So that's got to be a positive side of it. The technology, we've got the technology there. Our grandparents didn't see each other for months and months and months. With zero communication, not even a letter. And when you got a letter, it was relevant to months ago because it took that long to be delivered. So there is that plus side. I genuinely think, I mean, just before Christmas, I was listening up to people, oh, Christmas is ruined and oh, it's going to be, it was like, oh, yeah, just bring out your dead. It's like, oh, really? Is it going to be?
No.
I wasn't, I could see why it could have been. And I know Christmas means a huge,
it
huge
can be
amount to
if
so
that's
many
how you
people.
want. If that's how you want to start your day and look at it, that's what's going to happen to it. It's like the Greg Lake song, the Christmas we get is the one we deserve. So if you want to start your day with that kind of mentality, then you're going to get what you deserve.
There's a certain amount of, I'm as miserable and pessimistic and petty as the next person. And if you know me, you know that is just like I can out miserable anyone. But honestly, you can't control what's going on. It's not whether you are annoyed about that or not. Tough. You can't do nothing about it. So
it's whether you decide to make the best of it or not. It's like, are you going to make the best of this or not?
What you do have 100% control over is how you react to it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. And yes, it's bad. And I didn't get to see my dad. I drove because the plan was we have him over here at Christmas. We have done for the last few years, and it's a fair old way for him to drive. He doesn't like driving in the dark, so he likes to get here early and then leave and get his lunch early and then leave early, so he gets home before like 3:30 when it's dark. And I totally get that. And we start about September because he's always generally like, no, I'll stay at home this year. I mean, like, you can't stay at home. You can't be at home on Christmas Day on your own. That's not right. We'll do. We bend over backwards and we kind of work on, kind of chip away at him for about 3 months until he kind of caves in the middle of December and we get our way and he comes over. Anyway, this year he was adamant he wasn't going to come over and we sort of went, okay, that's fine. Not a problem. We'll come see you on Christmas Eve. Yeah. So the plan was for me to drive from where I am, Northampton, back down to Cambridge. I was going to deliver his Christmas presents, have a cup of tea because he's a single occupancy adult. We can form the support network. So because it's only him on its own, it's no different to if he actually, basically boarded his house up and came and lived with us. It's right. The same sort of. It's just a slightly bigger distance. So of course, if he needs to go and get food or he needs to go and get his medicine or anything like that, we can do that for him as well. Anyway,
yeah, right.
So it's like, right, we'll come over, we'll deliver the Christmas presents because there's a central hub. Other members of the family kind of drop in there throughout the year rather than going to lots of different places. We've always used that as like a central warehouse delivery hub for any presents that need to be distributed at a certain time of year. So I'm going down to Cambridge for Christmas Eve. I leave here about 10 o'clock in the morning. The night before, if anyone doesn't know, anyone around the world, if you're in the UK, you probably know about this, but it rained on the 23rd of December. and it rained a lot. To the point that there was mass flooding in certain areas. I know, Jamie, certain parts of your neck of the woods was pretty soggy. With the road, the A14 that runs basically through the Midlands, down through Cambridgeshire, into Suffolk and down to the docks, it's kind of the main thoroughfare from Europe, the docks from Europe, and then the lorries going all the way up to industry in the Midlands. It's the busiest, worst road in the UK. It was flooded for about 20 miles. Then it was just a big section of it, about 20-mile section of this road was completely closed. So it's like, that's unfortunate, but it's not a problem because I can go the back road. So I was like, right, well, I'll go down this way, out there, through there, and then I'll go around this way, through that village, across there, out to Bedford, then job done. So I'm pootling through these little back roads, go through this village, and it was flooded, and I couldn't get through. So I'm like, right, okay, now I've got to go back. And it was literally like, do I go back, do like another route? And all the routes, just one by one. Literally, I'm sure there was just a guy with a map going, boink, closed. It's like, the game with the ball bouncing on the screen.
Coming. We're going to close that one.
Yeah, it's like, just wait, he's good. He's coming. Like, boink. So in the end, long story short, I didn't get to Cambridge. So no mince pies, which were specifically made the night before, fresh for him. No presents, like nothing. Haven't seen him at all. Haven't seen him since the beginning of December. Didn't get to see my uncle because he lives just around the corner. I was going to basically chuck his present over the fence because he's got a nice big back garden. Didn't do any of that. And I was gutted because I'm driving around like Cambridgeshire, Bedfordshire, Northamptonshire, the Midlands of the UK, trying to fight my way to Cambridge. And it was just like, what's the point in stressing? Just no point. So just go home, deal with it. It will happen next time. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's no point getting stressed, no point getting angry. Just go in, put kettle on, put the fire on, feet up, and give him a phone call. And there we had a telephone call for half an hour to everyone that I was going to see.
All right. Well, we've got one more question. I want to get to it before we have to start wrapping things up here. And it's from Karam. And thank you once again, Karam, for your input this evening. We do appreciate it. He says, with only a few days left in this year, what else can you see happening? He says he's hoping for aliens. Well, I'll start off. Karam, aliens would be cool. However, I think I'm kind of
already here.
I'm kind of hoping to find out that topless women swimming around in the ocean are actually real. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I would do with them, but it sure would make fishing become a lot more fun. And well, hell, I might even think about buying a boat. So I don't know.
A pair of swimming trunks.
With only all right, well, come on. I mean, because if I can't catch fish, at least I can catch a glimpse. Anyway, so the question to you is, with only a few days left, boys and girls, what else can you see happening? Because we've already had the murder hornets. I mean, I didn't want to go through the whole list of things that we saw this year, but what else can you see happening? You know, to be creative. I mean, it's like,
I guess Mother Nature is probably the only thing I can, well, not exactly hope for, but the only thing I can see happening. I can see her being up to her old tricks and doing something. We had some real high winds yesterday down here. They was talking about having a hurricane or something like that coming down here.
Is it Hurricane Betsy at the moment?
Trust me, you don't want that. That's not
So we got a knock on the door at 5 o'clock this morning to tell us that our bin was up the road. So yeah,
I mean, I'm more of a reactor rather than a planner. I didn't go out stockpiling loo roll and pasta and all the rest.
No,
of it.
we didn't.
Well, neither did I. I mean, I didn't. But that's one thing I'm taking forward. It's like I may.
Yeah, I mean, that's. I don't know. I mean,
case somebody sneezes in a movie theater again, I may want to stockpile some toilet paper.
I can see the kind of commercial rental industry changing hugely in 2021. If you've bought huge tracts of Plagues of Locusts,
yeah, maybe.
Because if 2020's taught us anything, and I say us, I mean other people, and by other people I mean businesses. It means your people can work from home for the most part. Unless you are even teachers, literally, they'll be giving lessons remotely. It's not ideal. It's not the best situation, granted, but it can still happen. And there are lots and lots. Was it Twitter? I think it was Twitter turned around and said all our workers, anyone that works for Twitter, can work from home forever. Then brilliant. Their basically rent for premises just plummeted. And if you're the guy renting out office space to Twitter, you're struggling to pay your own mortgage, I suspect, because the bottom just fell out of your income.
That's an owie.
And I wonder how many other businesses are actually thinking of that. One thing I have seen is small businesses, small wood shops. I'll try and find the guy's name. In fact, I think I'll use that as my shout out, Chris. Small woodworking businesses getting small premises to expand because these places are becoming available because people aren't renting them because they're doing all this stuff remotely. Dan from Taylor Murfield, they're on about their third premise this year, I think. It's certainly the second this year and third in total because they're getting bigger. And that's, I think, huge, not just for them, but generally is small industry getting bigger. And I don't mean is it getting into big industry. I mean, is there more small industries rather than fewer huge conglomerates? Does that make sense? That's what I can see.
I think there was something else. I think we was talking about this in the hangout the other day. So cinemas, I don't think there's going to be any use for them soon. It's all going to be online.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that only because there are movies I will go see on the big screen that I would obviously watch them on my television or home computer. I mean, but going to see them at the movie theater, that is, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think I can see it being affected, Jamie, but I don't know. Movie theaters, I think, have their appeal that is very unique. I could be wrong.
I do agree with you there, Chris. I mean, Kat and I in 2019, I think they might have been birthday presents. I think we got basically I think it was in February. Dodged a bullet massively, but we signed up for a kind of VIP card or whatever you want to call it, where you paid a monthly fee or you paid for the year up front. It's a fixed fee, and you get this card, and you just go to the cinema,
right?
Whenever you want. You book it all online on your app. You put your code in, and you've paid your money up front or whatever. Just go to the cinema whenever you like. And we kept all the stubs, and we worked out that some days we were literally watching 3 movies a day, back to back. And there were films that we never would have ever watched in a million years if we had to go to the cinema and pay whatever it is per view on a movie.
I happen to be very fortunate. And Richard, I hear what you're saying, because I would go see The Wizard of Oz on the big screen again. I really would. But the movie theater that I have here in town, if you go into it, the first 4 rows of this movie theater are like your dad's lounge chair.
Yeah.
They're your lounge chairs.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah, they're your lounge chairs, and they have a bar that serves beer and wine, and of course the kids can get popcorn. And man, I'm telling you, kicking back in a movie theater and seeing and sitting in one of those chairs, sipping on a beer, or my wife sipping on her wine, and that's a good time. So yeah. No, Jamie, I say your forecast of the demise is, I think, unwarranted.
I think 20.
I definitely think they'd be affected.
Absolutely. I mean, they already have, haven't they? Massively.
Oh yeah.
But I don't actually think they need to be, because when you think about it, right? When was the last time you went? I mean, it might be different for you because it's possibly a cultural thing, Chris. I mean, I don't know how much it costs you to go and see a movie like the latest blockbuster in a movie. It costs us like 10, 12 quid.
$10.50. I mean, maybe, and it's somewhere the price varies, I guess, on the cost of the film. I don't know, but
I think it's about $5 to go to see it at View.
I think you're wrong, mate.
Well, but I mean,
it is. Look,
if you'd told me when I was a kid that I could take a girl out for $20, I would have been down with that. It was like, are you kidding?
Yeah,
let's go. Anyway, go ahead.
So for me, I think the business model for cinemas would have to change for them to start getting more and more people in. I mean, we're not here to welcome to Cinema Views with.
No, I hear you.
But
they have their market. They have their market.
When was the last time you went to a cinema and it was absolutely jam packed full? Like we went to see.
Oh man, ages ago.
Yeah, like 2019, Kat and I were going to see the actual Jedi and the real high-end stuff, and there was still no queues. There was still loads of room. So to socially distance in a cinema, certainly our local cinema. I don't know what it's like in Leicester Square on a Friday night, but certainly we go to Kettering to the cinema or we go to Rushden Lakes. Nobody there. You go at 3:00 in the afternoon on a Tuesday. You are the only people. We must have watched 20 films that year, and we were the only people watching it in that slot. So that's not, for me. That's not a reason. You don't need to socially distance that.
Well, there you go. There's something to look forward to for 2021. Movie theaters making a comeback. What they need? They need an opening floor act.
Yeah.
With bands or dancing women or something that whatever. Anyway, okay.
Put Lysol in the sprinkler system after every showing. Just set it going.
What they don't need is Jamie singing. But unfortunately, we have gotten to that point where we have to do that. So
stand by.
Our business model is in serious jeopardy at this moment. So, Mr. Page, if you don't mind, please carry on.
Jamie's Page.
Oh God, we're screwed.
So, like we mentioned earlier, nobody knows at the moment if Maker Central's on next year or not. But if it is, and you need stickers, you can head over to makersinternationalpodcast.com/stickers, and you can get £20 off at checkout.
Yay!
So there's that. Obviously, I've got a premiere on in 35 minutes. Caitlin the Cat is on 15 minutes after mine at 11:15. So that's that for Jamie's Page. My shout out today goes to Hodgepodge Woodworks. So,
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, he's got his wood turning channel. So he has a shop mascot called Harry. Just like I've got, I don't know if you can see it in the background. I've got Jaffa. There.
Yeah, from Dale. What is that? A toucan or something?
Yeah. So I've got Jaffa. He's got one called Harry. Well, he would turn a Spartan helmet for his shop mascot. And it's a pretty cool video. So check out Hodgepodge Woodworks.
Awesome. I know, Richard. I know. Obviously, you haven't had a chance because of Christmas and all the things that you've going on. But I did manage to squeak out a shout out this week, and it was very Christmas related. But I'm telling you, I don't care if you like to cook or you don't like to cook. You should check this out. Binging with Babish put out a video earlier, probably just prior to Christmas, called Judy the Elf's Hot Cocoa from the movie The Santa Claus. And I want to give him some love for two things. First of all, I had forgotten about the movie and hadn't watched it and didn't even think about watching it until I saw this video. And then Judy the Elf and that hot cocoa. I think he makes like 4 different cups of hot cocoa. But if you actually make the last one, and I did, if I'm lying, I'm dying. No, I'm not. No, I did. That is probably the best hot chocolate or cocoa that you'll ever have. I kid you not. So if you're looking for a warm fuzzy in the evenings, go check out that, because his version of Judy the Elf's hot cocoa from the movie The Santa Claus was really, really good. So I want to thank him for that. Anyway,
There you go.
that's my shout out. Richard,
I actually do have a shout out, Chris.
Oh,
I know I said to you, because I said to you beforehand I haven't because I wasn't watching. What?
Now I got to write things down, and that's why I'm
No,
complaining.
no, you don't. I've sent it to you. It's already
Okay,
the links in the chat. It's there, dude. It's just like
Okay.
copy and paste. Yeah. Basically, Christmas the whole time over Christmas. I've just basically down to tools. Find out why that is next week, but. Just before Christmas, and I had to struggle to find it, because has anyone noticed how YouTube just puts anything in your history at the moment? Like if you just look at a thumbnail and it does that little autoplay thing, it's in your history. So anyway, with that being said, it took me a few seconds to find it. So actually, I know people watching, if they're actually looking at the screen, not just listening, it did look like I was completely zoned out as Chris was talking about his Benjamin Babish thing, but I wasn't. I was actually listening to that, but looking for this video, and it is about setting up a lean woodworking workshop from scratch. It's from a guy, Alistair Johnson, over at Freebird Interiors. You might follow him on Instagram. I think that's where I know him from. But essentially, it was what we were talking about with the small businesses setting up and units kind of becoming available with the commercial rental changes. And it's actually a really interesting video. It's quite a long-ish one, if I remember right. It's sort of 12 minutes, so it's not too bad. But he goes on not just about a shop tour of basically him picking up this new workshop unit space, industrial unit, during COVID. He also talks about the kind of principles of lean working and how there's loads of tips in there basically about not using wasted space and keeping things rolling and like stock rotations and stuff like that, which is
so people with small workshops could really find this useful.
100%. Doesn't matter whether you're working out of a garden shed or a 3,000 square foot industrial space. There's some gold in there in terms of space saving and ideas and things like that. So well worth a watch. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. So, well, as we say goodbye to as well, I don't know about you guys, but as I happily say goodbye to 2020 with this episode, next week I think, Richard, we're going to be saying welcome to 2021. So if people have ideas and what they are looking forward to, then we carry them forward, and then we'll address them next week, because we have oh boy do we have a few of our own. At least I do.
Yes. I feel really bad now because I wanted to do a couple of shout outs, kind of honourable mentions for want of a better expression, and I kind of feel bad because we're right sort of at that point when the retention graph goes like a bunch of lemmings. But if specifically for the live listeners here, because they're our core, they're our backbone, they're the awesome source that keeps actually the podcast rolling. Not you bunch of weirdos that probably aren't still listening later on your Apple things or whatever.
Which is why he's saying what he's saying right now.
Yeah, what's that about insulting your customers, Chris, and business? Oh, don't worry about it, it's fine. Honestly, I want an actual shout out and recognition for, first and foremost, Andy Pugh. I know he's not here. Andy, everything that's going on at the moment, hang in there, dude. Hope everything goes well for you.
Absolutely.
Big thank you, because you've supported us hugely over the last 12 months. I know loads of other people have, like people like Andy Heal and people like Emma and Chris Murray and
absolutely
all those kind of people, Wayne, and the regular core viewers, Karam Hassan Hazam Kazam, whose name I never get right.
He knows.
Yeah, because all those people deserve shout outs, but specifically Andy was the one I wanted to mention. And then two people that I would like to mention as an extra special is a guy called
Jamie Page.
No, it's not Jamie Page. It's not Jamie Page. It's
Mrs. Page.
Why do I even bother doing this? Honestly, why do I?
All right, Jamie. He wants to be serious. Try to be
just for a second.
Hold your breath.
Paul Wilmore, and because Paul sent Kat and I the most awesome Makers wooden laser cut Christmas card. It's just absolutely fantastic. Met Paul and Anne's at Makers Central the first year and the second year. Absolute top dude. And the other guy is Andrew McQuillan. Andrew, if you're listening to the podcast later on, because Andrew was listening last week when we were talking about the hydroelectric plant in the house. Do you remember that from last week? And I couldn't remember for the life of me what it was called. And he messaged me. He stopped listening to the podcast. He went onto Instagram. He messaged me to tell me that it was Cragside. And I knew it was Cragside, but you know when you just the name, he messaged me.
It's called a brain fart.
Absolutely. And it then kind of sparked a little conversation. We had this little conversation going about where it is and how actually it turns out it's only 20 minutes up the road from relatives that live up in Northumberland near it. And it was just
Richard, wait before you're done. Let me introduce you to an American phrase. It's called "long story short."
No,
that's where you take a long story which you don't have to tell, but you get to the point. So.
Well, the point was that there's these awesome people that have supported us above and beyond for the last 12 months. And I think it's kind of fitting that we put it in the show here. So honestly, those people, thank you. And obviously thank you to everyone else as well, including our listeners in the future. And, if you are still listening, great. If you're not, we will say what we like about you. Next week, we're talking about next year, which is kind of freaky. But, hang in there for the next few days. Have a great 2020 as best you can. Look forward to 2021 and we'll see you next week. So until then, you take care.
Have a great week, everybody.
Take it easy, everybody.